what makes common stock prices so hard to predict is that a general liquid market for common stocks creates from time to time, either in sectors of the market or in the whole market, a Ponzi scheme. In other words, you have an automatic process where people get sucked in and other people come in because it worked last month or last year, and it can build to perfectly ridiculous levels, and the levels can last for considerable periods. Trying to predict that kind of thing, sort of a Ponzi scheme, which is, if you will, accidentally thrown into the valuation of common stocks by just the forces of life, by definition, that's going to be very, very hard to predict. That's what makes it so dangerous to short stocks, even when they're grossly overvalued. It's hard to know just how overvalued they can become in addition to the overvaluation that exists. And I don't think you're going to predict the Ponzi scheme effect in markets by looking at the price of gold or any other correlation.
Charlie and I mean, you're pulling a figure out of the air. We have probably agreed on at least 100 companies, maybe more, that we felt were frauds, bubble type things. And if we'd acted on shorting those over the years, we might be broke now. But we were right on probably just about 100 out of 100. It's very hard to predict how far what Charlie calls the Ponzi scheme will go. It's not exactly a scheme in the sense that it isn't concocted, in most cases, by one, but it's a sort of a natural phenomenon that seems to nursed along by promoters and investment bankers and venture capitalists and so on. But they don't all sit in a room and work it out. It plays on human nature in certain ways, and it creates its own momentum, and eventually it pops. And nobody knows when it's going to pop, and that's why you can't short. At least we don't find it makes good sense to short those things. But it is recognizable. You know when you're dealing with those kind of crazy things, but you don't know how high they'll go or when it'll end or anything else. And people who think they do, sometimes play in it. And other people know how to take advantage of it. I mean, there's no question about that. You do not have to have a 200 IQ to see a period like that and figure out how to have a big wealth transfer from somebody else to you. And that was done on a huge scale, in recent years. It's not the most admirable aspect of capitalism.